Can the cheapest airbrush on the market for only $15.99 compete to one of the most expensive airbrushes on the market for more than $470? And is the cheap airbrush maybe the best solution for you as a custom painter? These are the questions we have to find out, and if you don't know me, my name is Martin and I do things like that and that and that and that and that and that. Last night I did a shopping tour at the Big A and I thought, why not buy the cheapest airbrush I can find and test it and review it for you to find out if it can do the job even if you are a beginner. And what I bought was the Fender FE130. I'll link you this airbrush also underneath the video in the description if you like to order it yourself. And what I have to do is a little project. I have to rebuild my small compressor I built years ago from an old fridge. As you can see, the compressor of the fridge is still white, and what I have to do is I have to fit it to the artwork, the airbrush artwork I did on the tank. That's what we are doing in the video, and if this airbrush is able to do the job, that's the one for you. Let's find it out and let's start. Let me tell you some important facts before you buy a new airbrush. Doesn't matter if it's the cheap model for $15.99 or an exclusive model like my dream airbrush, the Iwata Custom Micron for more than $470. And what you should buy every time is a dual action airbrush. And that means you can push the trigger to open the air valve in the spray gun to open the airflow, and you can pull it back to pull back the needle to open the color flow. So push, pull, dual action or double action. That's what you should buy. Let's open the box and let's find out what's inside. And what's inside is a plastic case, but doesn't matter, we don't want to work with the case, we like to work with the airbrush. But let's compare to the exclusive model. These ones are handmade and they come of course in a metal case. But at first sight I can see something very good on the Fender, and what I found is a needle restriction on the handle. The black one is the handle and at the end is this little knob, and that's the needle restriction. And what it does is it restricts the travel of the needle, and if you turn it you restrict the color flow in the spray gun, and that's very good for beginners because it can save your life. You are safe from spraying too much color or spraying color blobs if you have no experience with spraying these spray guns. So yeah, very surprised, and that's what I like. And what I recommend are these bigger color cups of 7 milliliter if you are a beginner or if you're searching for an all-round spray gun, because you have more possibilities. You can do primer work or you can color panels or your models if you have these bigger cups. You can do of course also smaller line work. Doesn't matter how much color is inside. So buy the bigger cups, and as you can see, most of my daily workhorses have these big cups. These two, this one and this one. And I have only 2 airbrushes with smaller cups, like the HPB and the Custom Micron, the exclusive model. And these are made for fine line work, for portraits. And if you are a beginner, it's the better option to have the bigger cup. What's also in the box is a hose adapter, which is bullshit, because if you screw it on, you can't detach the hose. Don't use them. Buy quick releases. I'll show you later how these quick releases work. Spend some more money and you are good to go. What's also in the box is a wrench for the nozzle. That's very important. You need it, so don't lose the wrench. What's also inside the box is a plastic pipette. I never use these pipettes when doing airbrushing, so that's what we don't need. But now let's fill color in the spray gun and let's find out if it works. Let me show you at first how these quick releases work. I mounted one on my air hose and the nipple on the Fender, and now I can attach the air hose very easy and I can detach it in seconds. And as you have seen, I have a lot of these airbrushes and all have these nipples for the quick release, so I can change them in seconds. And that's what you need as a pro, and which makes it very easy. So buy these quick releases. I will link you some also underneath the video if you want to buy them yourself. But now let's put some color in these spray guns. I have the Custom Micron on the right side and the Fender on the left to compare them. And I use some airbrush color. I will link you also the airbrush color underneath the video if you want to use it as well. So let's put some drops in the airbrushes. 2 drops of color. And I have to add also some water because it's a thick color if you spray fine lines. So 3 drops of water. Now I have to mix the color, and that's also easy. What you have to do is take your finger, push it on the nozzle, and now pull the trigger. Push it a little bit back so the color mixes inside the spray gun. And now the first run of the Fender. I did nothing to the airbrush, out of the box, first run. And that's not so bad for a cheap airbrush like this. Let's test the exclusive model. Again, the Fender. Not so bad. So what I'm doing is I'm using 1200 grit wet sanding paper and I'm sanding the needle. I dismounted it and now I sand the needle. And now check this, $15.99, and that is what it's able to do. And I like to show you how the needle restriction works. Now it's full open, full travel of the needle in the spray gun. Let's spray. And that is what can happen if you are a beginner, these typical splashes. And to avoid that, you can restrict the travel of the needle. Let's close it 100%. Let's spray again. And nothing happens because the needle is blocked inside the spray gun. And now you can release it a little bit. Let's check again what happens. A very small line. Let's open it a little bit more. And that is what the needle restriction does. So you're also able to spray small lines as a beginner if you have no experience with these spray guns. So if you can, buy one with a needle restriction. Yeah, fine lines are one thing, but now let's find out if the Fender is also able to cover bigger objects in color. And what I will do is I will paint my old fridge with one of my favorite colors, yellow. And that's an automotive base coat. Let's fill it in the Fender. And what I'm doing is yellow on top, green on the bottom, a fade in between. Let's do it. The base colors are done, it's looking pretty good. Now let's do some custom graphics. Yeah, my little fridge compressor shines in its former glory and it's ready to mount it on the tank. But the big question is the Fender as good as one of my high-priced Iwata airbrushes? And the answer is definitely yes. As you have seen, you can do fine lines, also cool custom painting, and you can do also these base colors like on the compressor. added the clear coat and the finish in the paint booth with a bigger spray gun, because these small airbrushes are not made to handle a huge amount of clear coat, so don't do that. Buy a spray gun, but for base coats like the green and the yellow, it's perfect. Also for all of the custom painting and these fine lines. So a definitely yes from my side. If you're searching for a beginner airbrush, a multi-purpose airbrush, or a second one, that's the one for you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Goodbye.